The judiciary that had been operating under acting Chief Justice since an impeachment motion was filed against the then Chief Justice Cholendra Samsher Rana looks set to welcome a new leadership. The Constitutional Council has made recommendation for the post, and should the candidate be cleared by the concerned parliamentary committee, the Supreme Court will have a new Chief Justice. Good evening, I'm Sarah Sapsanama. Let's begin with the headlines of the hour. The Constitutional Council recommends acting Chief Justice Karki for the post of Chief Justice that has remained vacant for the past 14 months. 7 more names surfaced in the fake Bhutanese refugee scam. Former Prime Minister Dewa's wife Arju Rana and former Home Minister Balkrishna Khan's wife Manju drawn into controversy. Lawmakers call for a budget that rescues the country from economic crisis and import dependency, say the budget should generate employment opportunities. And Malang plays a 2-all draw with police at the Martyrs Memorial A Division League. Friends Club climbed to the 9th position from relegation zone, defeating Kumaltar 3-1. The Constitutional Council has recommended acting Chief Justice as the candidate for the vacant post of leadership at the judiciary. The Council's meeting held in the office of the Prime Minister in Singhadarwar has recommended Karki be appointed as the next Chief Justice. The Supreme Court had been operating under an acting Chief Justice for the past 14 months due to lack of consensus on power equation among political parties. The Constitutional Council meeting held a few weeks back had failed to find a consensus on Karki. The Council consists of Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, Speaker, Deputy Speaker, National Assembly Chair and Minister for Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs. The fake Bhutanese refugee scam and investigations into the case have drawn wide attention from all corners. The ongoing investigation is focused on identifying everyone involved in the scam who abused the mechanisms of the Ministry of Home Affairs to present Nepali citizens in the guise of Bhutanese refugees. 8 individuals, including the erstwhile secretary, have been arrested so far. It remains to be seen if the investigations will only be focused around those already arrested or more people are found involved in the scam. Police investigation into the scam has marked 45 days. As it is an organized crime, a case must be furnished at the court within 60 days. 8 individuals, including then Secretary Teknarayan Pandey and Indrajit Rai, security advisor to former Home Ministers, have been arrested so far. However, more individuals are likely to be held for investigation into the scam. Police has interrogated Pandey and is pursuing the arrest of former Deputy Prime Minister Topbahadur Rai Majhi, who is at large. As investigations are underway, it remains to be seen who else is involved in this scam. A task force was formed during the term of then Home Minister Ram Bahadur Thapa and Secretary Prem Kumar Rai to identify long-term solutions for the issues of Bhutanese refugees some 4 years ago. Except for the section officer of the ministry, former Under-Secretary Balkrishna Panthi and Ganesh Bahadur Kesi, termed the expert, were chosen by middle persons. Following the transfer of Deepak Prasad Nupani, then section officer of the ministry, Secretary Rai had not appointed another section officer, which has led to the investigations being focused on then Minister Thapa as well. The role of Maheshwar Nepani, who was appointed secretary after Rai, is also under investigation. Efforts were made for certification of 429 individuals included in the list of Bhutanese refugees considered suspicious during the term of Balkrishna Khan, who headed the Ministry of Home Affairs after Thapa. Khan is another individual likely to be investigated, as several dialogues were held by Secretary Pandey with middle persons during his term as the Home Minister. Sandesh Sharma, one of the arrested middle person, has already provided police the audio tape, which includes conversation regarding providing money to Khan's spouse Manju and Arju Rana, lawmaker from Nepali Congress and spouse of NC President and former Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Dewa. Police are also investigating the possible involvement of Manju and Arju in the scam. Details regarding the planning of entire scam and receiving money from 429 individuals to guise them as Bhutanese refugees must be obtained from coordinator of the task force Panthi and member Kesi. If the government is to dig deeper into the case, at least 7 other individuals need to be investigated. Police is seeking facts and the support of the government mechanism for required and additional investigations. Now, discussions related to corruption have intensified after the fake Bhutanese refugee scam came to the fore. Involvement of lawmakers, then Secretary and the Deputy Prime Minister in the scam has drawn attention from all corners. However, this is not the first instance where corruption has been widely discussed. In the years since the political transformation of 1990, corruption has been regularly discussed. However, actions have not been taken against senior political leaders so far. There is immense pressure to investigate the fake Bhutanese refugee scam due to alleged involvement of senior political leaders and high-ranking government officials. However, considering the history, senior leaders have avoided actions in corruption cases. Big cases are settled without taking actions. Large corruption cases like the carpet scam and cow scam were reported during the Panchayat era. Following the transformation of the 1990 report of the Commission to investigate abuses committed by the Panchayat government in suppressing the popular movement, popularly known as the Malik Commission, was not implemented, which promoted impunity. Nepali Congress leaders Khum Bahadur Khadka, Jai Prakash Gupta, Govindaraj Joshi and Chiranjeevi Wagle were arrested in corruption cases. However, actions were not taken against Nepali Congress leaders alleged of involvement in Lauda Air scam, corruption in Melamchi drinking water project and Sudan scam. Questions were also raised against leaders of CPN-UML for their alleged involvement in the procurement of Chase Air. Despite the change in the political system following the second popular movement, questions have been regularly raised against good governance or the absence of it. Big political names have been alleged of involvement in Omni scam during the coronavirus pandemic, procurement of wide-body aircrafts and Yeti Holdings. Cases were also filed at the Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authority regarding alleged corruption in the funds allocated for Maoist combatants. The audio tape where Krishna Bahadur Mara is heard asking for funds with some Chinese nationals to seek support of lawmakers later disappeared. A former Prime Minister issued a public statement about Sher Bahadur Deuba, KP Sharma Oli and Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal sharing 9 billion rupees from the Budi Gandaki hydroelectricity project. However, no entity paid any attention towards the statement of a former Prime Minister. Other serious cases of corruption were also not paid adequate attention to. Discussion into corruption has found its place at the lower house and public forums again. However, there are suspicions about conspiracies in progress to silence the debate. Despite making speeches against corruption, political leaders collude to protect themselves whenever alleged of involvement in such scams. It remains to be seen if investigations into the Bhutanese refugee scam lead to concrete results. Members of the House of Representatives have urged for preparation of the budget of the upcoming fiscal year with the objective of reviving national economy. Participating in the discussions on the budget for the upcoming fiscal year at the lower house, lawmakers have urged for preparing the budget based on current requirements. Former Finance Minister Bishnu Paudel alleged the government of preparing the principles and priorities by ignoring the current economic challenges of the country. Paudel also warned of failure of the nation if the policies and programs were not developed by considering the economic challenges and further urged of rewriting the principles and priorities. The former Finance Minister also claimed that the current economic challenges were a consequence of the policies of the government and not the external factors. Meanwhile, Rashtriya Swatantra Party chairperson Ravi Lamichhane also alleged the principles and priorities of the budget failing to address economic concerns of the country. He also urged for the implementation of e-governance to curb corruption. Another Rashtriya Swatantra Party lawmaker and economist Swarnim Wagle said that the government could not be flexible in its fiscal policy and added that effort to finding solutions only through the monetary policy was a wrong approach. Wagle also added that the principles and priorities of the budget were not aimed at addressing current economic issues. The lawmakers have urged against reducing the budget ceiling and budget for national pride projects, while they have also called for allocating adequate budget for establishment of factories for the production of fertilizers and reducing interest rates. The lawmakers have also stressed on expansion of the agriculture and industrial sector to curb imports, creation of employment opportunities, and investing after adequate considerations of productivity and returns. Meanwhile, lawmakers of the ruling parties defended the principles and priorities of the budget, saying they were based on the requirement of the hour. Member of the lower house Amresh Kumar Singh staged a protest at today's session of the parliament by taking off his clothes. In this context, in our Public Voice segment, today we've asked people in several provinces what their suggestion is to lawmakers that staged indecent behavior at the parliament session. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
संसद भित्र जुन किसिमको चटक देखाउनु भयो त्यो चाहिँ सही उपाय चाहिँ होइन
सहमति गर्न सक्छ विविध कुरो हुन्छ नि त्यही लुगै फुकाएर त सहमतिमा आउने होइन
कपडा खोलेर त्यो चाहिँ गर्ने नहुने कुरो
संसद भएर जानु भएको हो नि त त्यो भइरहँदाखेरि चाहिँ उहाँहरुको क्रियाकलापहरु देखिरहँदाखेरि हामीले उहाँहरुबाट के सिक्ने
संसदीय गरिमामाथिको खेलवाड हो
नैतिकता हुन्छ नि इथिक्स के हो भन्ने कुराको चाहिँ ट्रेनिङै दिनुपर्ने जस्तो भइसक्यो
गरिमा घटाउने सांसदलाई नियम कानुनमा चाहिँ ल्याएर कानुनको कठोरमा उभिएर कारबाही गर्नलाई चाहिँ म चाहिँ अनुरोध गर्छु
एउटा स्वतन्त्र सांसदलाई कतिसम्म ठाउँ स्पेस नदिएको रहेछ उले चाहिँ कपडै खोलेर विरोध गर्न पर्ने भन्ने चाहिँ मलाई लागेको
राजनीतिक पार्टीहरूले अब गम्भीर समीक्षा गरिकन नयाँ ढंगबाट यो देशको सबै पुनर्संरचना र हरेक हिसाबमा सोच्नुपर्छ
अभ्याहत व्यवहार गर्नु भनेको त्यो त राजनीतिक रूपले नैतिक पतन भइसकेको अवस्था देखिन्छ
आफैले अरूलाई सिकाउनु पर्ने ठाउँमा आफैले नै अमर्यादित ढंगले पेश हुँदाखेरि अरू नबुझ्ने मान्छे जनताले चाहिँ के भनेर बुझ्ने
जनताको प्रतिनिधित्व भएर गइसकेपछि त्यसमा जस्तो कुरे मनमा आए पनि त्यसलाई दबाएर राखेर आफ्नै ढंगले प्रस्तुत गर्ने किसिमको एउटा रणनीति उनीहरुले अपनाउनु पर्ने हुन्छ
कानुन निर्माण गर्ने निकायले नै जुन अव्यावहारिक खालको काम गर्यो भने त त्यो त पक्कै पनि त राम्रो सन्देश दिँदैन नि त जनताहरुमा
And it's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
But before today's question, let's take a look at the results from yesterday's poll. Yesterday, we asked you, why do you think the practice of providing Nepali citizenships to non-Nepali nationals not stopped? 33% voted for option A, feeble action, 43% for B, a nexus of government employees, and 24% for C, due to open border. Here's today's question. Why have the farmers not benefited from the research works of Nepal Agriculture Research Council? Your options are A, lack of information, B, lack of trust and reliability, and C, no coordination. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us.
Sports News.
Friends Club have climbed out of the relegation zone with a 3-1 win over Kumaltar Youth Club at the Martyrs Memorial 8 Division League. With the win, Friends have climbed to the 9th position in the league table. In the match played at Chassel Ground in Lalitpur, Friends maintained pressure over Kumaltar from the very beginning. Rafiq Amanu put Friends ahead in the 4th minute and marked his brace 12 minutes later. Mesuke Olibu reduced the deficit for Kumaltar as the leading goal scorer of the 8th Division League marked his 14th goals in 16 matches in the 67th minute. Santosh Khatri reinstated the 2-goal lead of Friends in the 78th minute to secure the crucial 3 points for his team. With the win, Friends have 19 points from 16 matches, while Kumaltar have 19 points and are placed 13th following their 8th defeat of the season. In another 8th Division League match played today, Manang Mershangdi Club were held to a 2-all draw by relegation-threatened Nepal Police Club. Up next is the weather update. is all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Good night.